So with the launch of the Galaxy M31, Samsung has finally introduced its latest mid-range option for the year 2020. And I've been using it for a while now, and although I've already done a first impression, something that you can check out from the link in the description box below, one thing that genuinely impressed me on this phone is the camera. They've actually worked on it and the camera performance has improved quite a lot. But how does it fare against its direct competitor, which is the Redmi Note 8 Pro, or maybe something that's a little bit more pricier like the Poco X2? Hey guys, this is Varun from Guiding Tech, and today I'll be comparing the Galaxy M31's camera against the Redmi Note 8 Pro and the Poco X2 to decide which smartphone offers the best camera in a price bracket of near about 15,000. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start off with the daylight shots. Now, as you can see, the real competition is between the Poco X2 and the Galaxy M31. I mean, the Note 8 Pro does produce great shots, but the other phones definitely have a slight edge over it. Now, choosing between one of those is a tough task, but the Poco X2 does perform slightly better. The colors look more realistic, while Samsung, well, it tends to saturate the sky a bit. The same is highlighted in this next shot, where Samsung goes for a reddish tint to the skies, while Poco, well, it maintains true colors. That's it, credit where it's due. Both the phones manage to retain the sky along with the flare of the sun and exhibit a very good HDR mode, while the Note 8 Pro completely blows the sky. But then again, it's not like the Note 8 Pro can't compete in this league. For instance, take a look at the shot of trees. The Redmi device is the only phone that manages to contain the colors of the park, while the other two phones focus more on the skies. Now the shadows are well maintained, but it does oversharpen the image a lot as well. Moving on to a saturation test, guess which photo is the most realistic? Ironically, it's the Galaxy M31. Now both the Poco and the Note 8 Pro focus just on the yellow colors, and while trying to maintain the colors, end up darkening the plastic sheet behind. It's only the Samsung M31 that manages to actually retain the colors while also showcasing the backsheet. Now it does come with a cost though, which is that the details are slightly missing when you pixel peep into the topmost portion. Now if you want to see how close the cameras really are though, this shot might be the best one. It's a simple shot of a tree, and while no image is perfect, they all look great individually. However, one thing that both Redmi and M31 do is that it takes the red flowers into account and applies a red tint to the skies as well. The Poco does not fall for that and ends up resulting in realistic colors throughout. Lastly, this HDR shot pretty much defines what we've talked about so far. The M31 exhibits unrealistic blues for skies, the Note 8 Pro oversharpens, and Poco results in a slightly balanced image. None of them are perfect, but they're all mostly consistent. Moving on to ultra-wide shots, the first thing to note is that Samsung's cameras are just too darn wide. However, the lens correction here does not seem to be that effective. So there's that. Now, when you do pixel peep a bit, you'll notice that both the Note 8 Pro and the M31 do a bit of oversharpening, though at least on Samsung's, well, it is still quite controlled. Poco exhibits a lot softer image, and honestly, I'll just have to give this round to the Samsung M31. Moving on to macro photography, and finally I can say that Redmi's oversharpening comes in handy. Yes, Poco's images look good, but I would any day pick the Redmi's tuned image here. As for Samsung, well, it's a pain to click macro images, and even then the images do not look that good. It seems like despite adding a dedicated macro sensor to the original M30s with the new M31, the macro photography is not that good on Samsung's Galaxy devices, at least in this price segment. Now talking about human subjects and portraits, let's take a look at the original images first. The colors are best represented on the Poco X2, closely followed by the Redmi Note 8 Pro. The M31 goes for a very cool tone, which although looks good for show, is not color accurate. That said, in terms of details, the competition is once again between the Poco and the Galaxy device. Zooming into my face, just look at my beard. The Note 8 Pro softens it extremely, while both the X2 and the M31 do a great job. Now turn on the portrait mode and Poco wins it. Both Samsung and Redmi do not have as good as edge detection as the Poco X2, and weirdly, Samsung also softens the image a lot. Even the texture of my t-shirt looks quite different on Samsung, especially in contrast to the previous image we saw. Moving on to videos, the Poco is a hands down winner here. Now I agree the result looks a bit warmer, and actually it's the Note 8 Pro that gets the temperature right, but it blows out a lot of details and the objects in the distance are, well, not on focus. As for Samsung, the video is skipping frames a lot, which is quite weird. That said, the reason for it is quite simple. While both Poco and Redmi are recording on 1080p 30fps, Samsung ends up recording it in 25fps, so there's that. Switching to the front camera, immediately you can see just how much oversharpening the Note 8 Pro is doing. Some might actually like it too, but personally, the flat colors are the downfall for me. The M31 is no different in terms of colors either. The backdrop is flat, while the face is smoothened and reddish. The Poco X2 is definitely the champ here. However, turn the portrait mode on and it's Samsung's game all over again. For starters, it's the only phone that manages to retain the skies while both the other phones blow it away. Also, while the edge detection near my spectacles is laughable on all three, at least the M31 does justice to my hair. The image is still a bit soft, and in terms of the beard test, I would still pick the Poco X2, but I still think that the M31 is the better pick overall here. Now in terms of selfie videos, once again Redmi's oversharpening is quite visible here. The Poco X2, well, it exhibits the most realistic color profile, while the M31 has a super reddish tone applied to my face like I'm from Mars or something. That said, where Samsung excels is that when I pan the camera around, you can see that the backdrop is well maintained while both the phones end up overblowing it. Now I'll let you guys decide which one suits your interest the best, at least in this aspect. Now moving on to low light shots, this is one area where Redmi's oversharpening once again comes in handy. Poco's image has a lot of red hues while Samsung's shot is overloaded with noise. It's only the Note 8 Pro that does a really good job. Turning on the night mode does help the other two phones, but the Note 8 Pro still gets the win here. The M31 is still suffering with noise while Poco gets a super whitish tone on the trees. Moving to the front camera, and I guess it's safe to say that none of these phones are good for low light selfies. The shots here have the displays pushed to the max brightness, and that's basically the only reason why Samsung's image is a tad bit brighter thanks to its Super AMOLED display. Other than that, all three phones perform similarly, and I mean there's no winner here. They're all, I don't want to use the L word, but we all know what that means. Well, that was it. Now, if you'd like to take a closer look at all the images for yourself, I'll also be leaving a download link to the raw images, I mean directly from the smartphones, for you to directly download them and take a look at it. Because we at Guiding Tech are completely unfiltered and unbiased. We do not ever cheat our viewers. What we do is that we help you make better decisions, which also reminds me that if you have any more doubts or queries, make sure to comment below. This is Varun from Guiding Tech, and I'll see you in the next one.